I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
We have some new huge information coming out about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and David. Private investigation was started into what possibly happened at the home that David was renting in LA by the homeowner of that home. And this private investigator was already able to uncover some bombshell information, like who was the last person that was driving David's Tesla.
Here, following the case of David and Celeste, we have some crazy new information coming out, and you're going to want to hear this. So first off, we now have a name of possibly the last person to drive David's Tesla before Celeste was found inside. Neo was a very close friend of David's. They were seen a lot together, so much so that they had a relationship that people speculated was more than just friends. But whether or not he was involved and to what extent remains unclear.
I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, and they left town right after that. I'm certain that's the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
Something's not adding up here. David, or maybe one of his closest friends, was reportedly caught on surveillance parking that same Tesla, the one investigators claim had Celeste's body inside. That alone is terrifying. But what came next made the entire story even darker. A private investigator confirmed that several disturbing items were found inside the rental property, the kind of stuff no regular person would keep around unless they were planning to make something or someone vanish.
Home's owner then hiring Fisher.
He wants to understand, exactly, what may have happened and if his house played any role in that.
And here's where things really start spinning out of control. The investigator, Steve Fisher, has quietly become one of the most talked about names in this entire case. He's been dropping little bits of information during his interviews, never saying too much, but just enough to make everyone lean in closer. One of his most shocking claims? That Celeste may have been gone since January. That's months before anyone even realized she was missing. Remember how reports said she was still messaging her family in July or August? Well, Steve's hinting those messages might not have come from her at all. He says the last real photo of Celeste was taken on January 2nd. And after that, nothing. No new pictures, no confirmed sightings, no verified contact, just silence.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, let me ask you this. Like, we don't know what they took from the home and those boxes and whatnot, but if they have his devices, or forget about his devices, let's say they subpoena his, his phone carrier or his Google account or whatever. It's very easy and very quick for law enforcement to get access to pretty much anything that crosses your phone and your computer. And so if they get text messages, like that's sexting, that's enough, right? To potentially charge him.
And here's the creepy twist. That final photo wasn't found on her phone. It came from a camera left inside the same rental home David was living in. And that's exactly where Steve Fisher's investigation first began. At first, Steve Fisher was just another internet sleuth digging into the case online, dropping bits of evidence across social media for anyone willing to listen. But everything changed when the actual homeowner, the one renting the place to David, reached out and officially hired him. And honestly, who wouldn't? If someone might have lost their life on your property, you'd want answers too. Once Steve started piecing things together, the entire timeline began to twist into something way bigger than anyone expected. He's now suggesting that what everyone thought went down this summer was really just the aftermath of something that started months earlier.
I think that's enough to pull the trigger on the 288, but of course...
They don't need like sex videos. They don't need, right? They don't need, okay. Yeah.
Believe it or not. Yeah, my guy was out of state on that case, and he never even got a refund. That was like probably 1998 when I did that. It's been the law for a long time. And if you think about it, the law really is applied philosophy. It's about what's right, what's wrong. And our law, despite all the criticism it gets, it's based on things that stand the test of time. So when you look at cases that are old and you take a step back and you really think about it, that's what law school is all about, is understanding the philosophical right and wrong.
And here's where things get downright eerie again. Jump to July 29th, the day that Tesla was found abandoned. Steve says whoever last parked that car did it exactly 12 hours before it was discovered. That's not coincidence. That's precision. So between that last photo in January and the Tesla popping up in July, there's a 7-month black hole filled with silence, missing time, and secrets nobody wants to talk about. Something major happened in between, and it might finally explain what really went down with Celeste. But here's the wild part. Investigators say a camera actually caught someone wearing the exact same outfit seen in the footage from the Tesla drop-off. And the more you line up those clips, the more it starts to make sense. You've heard of Neo, who goes by Neo the Asian online. He's not just some random buddy of David's. He's been his right-hand man for years. He's even called himself David's personal assistant and was right there during those old Discord calls with Celeste. That means Neo wasn't just in the background. He knew everything from the start.
It comes very close to the camera. You can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
And when Steve Fisher mentioned a mystery man near that Tesla wearing distinctive clothing, people couldn't help but start connecting those dots fast. Those photos from July 28th started looking real suspicious once people took a closer look. In those shots, Neo was seen at David's house right before they all hit up a birthday party that same night. The guest list? Celeste Herrera, David, Neo, and a few familiar faces from the scene. The pictures are striking. David's rocking a loud graphic tee that says, "Smile if you're," while Neo's repping a bright red 22 shirt. That same color and number combo just happens to match what's seen in the Tesla footage. Then 2 days later, on July 30th, another batch of photos drops. David's wearing a bold shirt that reads, "Sounds gay." I'm in Neo standing right next to him in a dark sweatshirt with red detailing. But here's the thing. People now believe those pics were all taken the same weekend and just uploaded later to throw everyone off the real timeline.
I'm going to show you guys the eats before we embark on our tour adventure. We got the Bangin' Balls burgers, the Bangin' Balls tender, tour bus vibes, studio in the back because we making music called Tour. You know where it's at. You know what it is. Why am I talking like this? I don't know. See y'all in San Francisco. First show on the way. We're going to get naked on stage.
Online users were quick to catch what Steve Fisher had hinted at earlier. These weren't random fashion choices. They were identifiers. That red 22 shirt became a major clue, and fans immediately matched it with the person caught on surveillance the night of July 29th. And here's where things get dark again. After that night of partying, David, Neo, and their crew reportedly hit the road. According to Steve, that was the last confirmed moment before everything went silent. What's chilling is that investigators believe they left town the very next morning, boarding a tour bus like nothing ever happened. Social media backs it up too. David later posted clips showing him, Neo, and their friend Aisha laughing on the bus, headed to San Francisco for the first stop of his show. No tension, no panic, no hint of what they just left behind. Just smiles, music, and tour vibes. So now between that party on the 28th, the Tesla's final sighting on the 29th, and that carefree road trip that followed, it's clear something isn't lining up. The whole timeline feels too perfect. Like every move, every post, every outfit was part of a plan. Those matching shirts, that sudden road trip, and the quick escape, it's all way too smooth to be coincidence. It's almost like they knew eyes would be watching, and they wanted to look calm while the world tried to piece it all together. Then came the short clip that sent chills through everyone watching. The video itself doesn't show much, except one crucial thing. It was filmed the same day the Tesla was abandoned. That means right after parking that car, they hopped on the bus and rolled out like nothing happened. No panic, no hesitation, just business as usual. It's honestly disturbing how someone could act that calm after something so horrific.
We'll say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary statistics.
When the tour kicked off, David hit the stage for his first show wearing another bold outfit, a dark sweatshirt that read, "Divine Celestial." The crowd noticed instantly, especially after what had just come out about Celeste. Fans watching the footage online were horrified, because during that same show, David performed beside a massive funeral casket prop. People couldn't believe it. It didn't feel like tribute. It felt like mockery. The symbolism wasn't touching. It was chilling. And after that San Francisco concert, things only got weirder. David popped up at another party, this time dressed head to toe in bright red. Meanwhile, the Tesla was still sitting in that same spot, untouched, abandoned, like time froze for it while everyone else kept pretending life was normal. The contrast was eerie, fun, and parties on one side, silence and evidence on the other. Now here's where private investigator Steve Fisher drops the real bombshell. He's been super cautious about his words, but the hints he gave painted a disturbing picture. At first, people misread what he was saying, but when pressed, Steve cut in quick, saying flat out, "I never said no." The way he said it sent chills down everyone's spine. He mentioned finding heavy-duty trash bags, industrial-strength cleaning agents, and other strange supplies inside that rental house. Things that had no business being there. He didn't list every single item, but his tone said it all. These weren't normal household products. They were the kind of materials that screamed preparation. Some online users started throwing out wild theories. One of the missing items, they said, could have been acid or some kind of corrosive chemical, the kind used to wipe away evidence completely. Steve Fisher never confirmed that part, but he did make one thing painfully clear. The stuff they found in that house pointed to something planned, not some emotional outburst. He even used one chilling word to describe it: sadistic.
Time the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved, and literally a bus departed for tour.
That word stuck like glue. It changed the tone of everything. Suddenly, this didn't sound like an accident or a heated argument gone wrong. It felt cold, deliberate, and thought out long before it ever happened. When you tie that to the creepy concert visuals, the unsettling outfits, and the total lack of remorse afterward, it all starts to look like one twisted performance piece. Almost like they wanted people to catch on, but not quite believe what they were seeing. That's what makes it so disturbing. It's theatrical and calculated all at once. But here's where the story flips again. Steve Fisher started hinting at something that changes everything we thought we knew. While everyone assumed Celeste had been living at David's main rental, new findings suggest that might not be true at all. According to Steve, there's solid evidence she could have been staying somewhere entirely different. Maybe a small apartment downtown, or even somewhere near Hollywood. That means she might have been bouncing between locations, staying off the radar the whole time. And when Steve first inspected David's main rental, the one officially under his name, he said there was zero trace of Celeste ever living there. No personal items, no clothes, no signs of her presence anywhere. He was hired by the landlord, so this wasn't internet speculation. It was an official inspection. That discovery alone blew open a massive question. If she wasn't living there, then where was she?
In what you went through in the house, did you find any evidence of criminal behavior?
So, it's not a crime to think about doing certain things, but we found some things that had been delivered to the house that just don't belong there, or don't belong in any type of environment like that. And they are things that you could use to get rid of a person if you wanted to. And they're really, people say, oh, it's got to be tools and stuff. It's beyond that. It's really sadistic stuff. Now, LAPD didn't take it, but they have told us that they photographed it. But again, that's not a crime, just ordering these things,
It is concerning to me that so much stuff was left behind in the house that Steve was collecting, as evidence, because he's working for the homeowner. Some of this stuff that Steve and I have talked about offline, it's weird. I'm sorry. It's just strange that the LAPD didn't take this stuff with them when they had their...
That's when online communities went into full detective mode. People began connecting old posts, geotags, and video backgrounds trying to pin down her real location. Some claim Celeste might have been staying under someone else's lease, possibly another rental David was quietly paying for to keep her situation private. Others believed he was helping her financially, keeping her off the grid and away from attention since she wasn't in school or working at the time. Whatever the truth is, the setup sounds way too organized for coincidence, and that's exactly what's making everyone uneasy. Now, before anybody jumps to conclusions, none of this is confirmed yet. These are all unverified online discussions, but they show just how obsessed people have become with figuring out what really happened. Some users even dug up info about a second property tied to David's name, rumored to be a streaming house, where several creators used to go live together. That spot, many believe, might have been where Celeste was really hanging out, or maybe even the last place she was seen active online. Steve Fisher hasn't officially confirmed whether investigators searched that property, but he did say something strange. There were inconsistent traces, like someone had done a quick cleanup, and that single comment set the internet on fire. If Celeste was splitting her time between both locations, then something could have easily gone down during one of those visits, and the evidence might have been wiped later. But here's where things get even more suspicious. Steve revealed that David allegedly rented a red Tesla in February, just weeks after the timeline where Celeste was last believed to be alive. That immediately raised a huge red flag. Why would he need to rent another Tesla when he already owned one? Especially one that looked almost identical. Was he trying to dodge recognition? Or was that rental used for something he didn't want traced back to his personal car? The internet went wild with that theory. People started wondering if the February rental was actually the same car that turned up abandoned in July. And if that's true, when was the last time Celeste was even seen inside that vehicle? Steve didn't confirm that link directly, but he did say investigators pulled surveillance footage connected to that rental period, and that those clips could be key to understanding what really went down. What makes it all even creepier is how perfectly these timelines overlap. January, when Celeste supposedly disappeared. February, when the red Tesla appeared. And July, when that same car was found abandoned. It's a sequence way too precise to brush off. And even though rumors about acid or other chemicals keep spreading online, Steve stayed careful. He only confirmed the discovery of heavy-duty trash bags and strong cleaning supplies. Still, the puzzle keeps tightening.
For a defense attorney. Totally. And so I just think when we ultimately are told, at least what prosecutors believe the theory is on how the body ended up in the car, we're going to say, oh my God, it's going to be a wild story.
Between the multiple rentals, hidden living spaces, mysterious Teslas, and zero solid evidence inside David's main home, it feels like the truth is sitting just out of reach, but getting closer every day. At this point, one thing's becoming painfully clear. This wasn't random chaos. It was straight-up coordination. The way these pieces line up feels too clean, too deliberate, like every single move was mapped out to keep the truth buried deep. Then things got even creepier when new records dropped from the U.S. Sun, released through a Freedom of Information request. And what they exposed left everyone shook. It turns out a neighbor called 911 on Sunday, July 20th, 2025, after hearing blaring music coming from David's rental home around 4:30 a.m. That's the middle of the night. But here's the chilling part. According to those documents, police didn't arrive for more than 4 hours. By the time officers finally pulled up, the entire place was silent. The music was off, the lights were out, and not a single person was seen outside. Whatever went down inside that house ended long before authorities ever got there. That one call suddenly feels like a massive clue. What exactly was happening in that house between 4:30 and sunrise? Some viewers started digging through old live streams and swear they found clips from around that same night. In them, David appears to be alone, quietly streaming from what looks like the same room in that rental. But his energy? Way off. He looked distant, zoned out, almost like he was forcing himself to stay busy. Others believe he had come from a private party earlier that weekend, but the timestamps don't quite match up. And that only makes the whole thing weirder. Investigators now think that whatever happened in July might actually trace all the way back to January, the last time Celeste was confirmed alive. Just the thought that her remains weren't found until months later sends chills through everyone following this case. That's nearly half a year of silence, secrets, and unanswered questions. Now people online are debating whether that night of loud music was a panic moment, a breakdown, or someone trying to drown out guilt, because right after that date, everything about David's online behavior changed. His posts became inconsistent, cryptic, almost like he was retreating from the world. And not long after that, the Tesla turned up abandoned.
Body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez had likely been in the Tesla for several weeks before it was discovered. But one private investigator tonight telling us his evidence indicates it may have been much longer.
When reporters pressed local authorities for answers, officials stayed tight-lipped, saying only, "This is an active investigation with significant resources committed to finding the truth. We cannot share additional information at this stage." Translation, they're not saying a word. But what's really throwing everyone off is how calm David seems now. No visible stress, no public breakdown, just a man walking around like none of this ever touched him. And that eerie calm, that's what's scaring people most. It's the kind of calm that doesn't come from peace. It comes from someone who already knows exactly what happened. He's not behind bars, he's not in hiding. And from what people can see online, David's moving around completely free. That's what's got everyone asking the same question. If police really have all this evidence, why hasn't anything major happened yet? With the 911 call, the late night music, the abandoned Tesla, and the silence from investigators, it feels like we're staring at a puzzle with just one missing piece. Something big went down in those dark hours of July 20th, and until that gap is filled, the truth about Celeste's final moments is still out there, waiting to be uncovered. In the weeks after that 911 call, the internet went into absolute meltdown. What started as quiet whispers turned into a full-blown digital investigation. True crime forums, Reddit threads, and TikTok pages were picking apart everything. Every post, every movement, every tiny noise in David's old live stream clips. Some online sleuths even matched the faint background music from those streams to the same playlists he used during his shows, trying to nail down the exact night that noise complaint was made. Then came the leaks. Screenshots allegedly pulled from Discord servers started flooding social media, showing supposed private chats between David, Neo, and a few unnamed users. In those messages, people claimed to spot subtle references to cleaning up and not saying too much. None of it's officially verified, but just the tone of those conversations was enough to send the internet into overdrive. Some say it was harmless inside jokes. Others swear it was coded talk about what happened that night. Meanwhile, neighbors around the rental started coming forward with their own chilling memories. One woman said she remembered seeing a red car parked halfway on the curb for nearly 2 days before it mysteriously vanished. Another reported smelling a strange, chemical-like odor in the air around the same time, something sharp that stung her nose but disappeared by morning. None of those statements have been confirmed in the official reports yet, but the timing lines up perfectly with when the Tesla was found abandoned. As for the official side of things, investigators are staying silent. But Steve Fisher, the private investigator who's been deep in this case since day one, just dropped a bombshell on a recent podcast. He hinted that his team secured new footage from a nearby alley camera, footage that might actually show who walked away from that Tesla. He didn't spill any names or specifics, just left it at one chilling line. What we found changes the timeline. That single statement sent shockwaves through the internet, because if the timeline changes, then so does everything we thought we knew about that night. That one single quote, "What we found changes the timeline," has already set the internet on fire. Theories are popping up nonstop, and each one sounds crazier than the last. But what's even more unsettling is how detached David seems from all of it. His newest posts show him right back in the studio, previewing tracks and clips like the world isn't literally piecing together a major criminal case around his name. Some fans think he's trying to spin the story, turning all this dark curiosity into straight-up publicity. Others believe it's denial, a way to act normal, pretend none of this is happening, and keep control of the spotlight. Meanwhile, the silence surrounding Celeste's real story just keeps getting louder. No official family statements, no confirmed memorial, nothing, just old fragments of her life scattered online. Photos, short clips, messages that suddenly went silent one day in January. Every new day without answers feels heavier, because if Steve Fisher's right, the truth isn't lost. It's hidden, buried under distractions, secrecy, and silence that someone clearly worked hard to maintain. And the wildest part? Even with all this heat surrounding him, David's still out here posting like everything's fine. People were convinced he checked into a mental health facility or gone completely off the grid. But nope, he's active, especially on Snapchat, still dropping selfies, short clips, and random moments like none of this chaos exists. It's honestly shocking to watch, like he's trying to rewrite his own story in real time while the world watches him from the outside. You'd think after everything, the investigation, the leaked footage, the speculation, the wild timelines, and that eerie evidence, he'd step away from social media for a while. But instead, he's doubling down. His latest snaps show him laughing, hanging out, replying to fans, and even teasing new projects. It's almost like he's using the same platforms tied to the scandal to rebuild his image from scratch. And that's what's leaving everyone speechless. For those who've followed Celeste's story from the start, seeing him online, smiling, acting carefree, it hits different. The comment sections are flooded with people who are frustrated, heartbroken, and flat out angry. They're asking the same haunting question. How is he still free, still posting, still performing for the camera when this investigation isn't anywhere close to over? At this point, it's not just about blame anymore. It's about justice and real accountability. Whether people believe David's guilty or not, Everyone agrees something here just doesn't line up. What's even sadder is how quickly Celeste's story keeps fading from the headlines. Her name trends for a few hours every time a new piece of info drops, then vanishes under the next viral distraction. It's like the world moves on while her truth gets buried deeper each day. But her supporters haven't stopped. Online communities are still keeping her memory alive, posting her pictures, sharing her old clips, and spreading small tributes just to make sure she's never forgotten. It's emotional to watch, because no matter how messy this story gets, one thing stays clear. This case isn't just about one artist or one tragedy. It's about how fame, money, and influence can twist accountability right in front of us. Every update pulls in more eyes, more rumors, and more heartbreak. And yet somehow, the man at the center of all of it is still scrolling, still posting, still acting like nothing's wrong. It's unreal. So what do you think? Will justice ever catch up? Or is this just another case where celebrity power keeps the truth locked away forever? Drop your thoughts down below. I really want to hear what you think about all this. And before you go, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe if you want to stay locked in for every twist, every leak, and every shocking new detail that drops next. We've got more stories coming that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about the celebrity world. See you in the next one, and don't miss the video on your screen right now, because it's about to get even crazier.